Is this thing on? Welcome back to Big Mouth and fancy seeing you here in June. A very welcome, my friends, and especially my enemies. Come in, sit down, no touching. I don't do the touching. Welcome to Big Mouth. You can continue this conversation over on Twitter with me at Movies TV Mad. Happy birthday, Sam Raimi. Sam Raimi went from horror movie director to superhero director. That sounds weird, doesn't it? But it happens very often in Hollywood. Dick Donner, aka Richard Donner, went from directing the Omen movie to directing Superman the movie, the first superhero movie, probably still the best superhero movie, and it's the one all other directors look to when they think about making a movie. And Sam Raimi certainly looked at Dick Donner's Superman the movie for inspiration. Yes, Sam Raimi has a birthday today, so this inspired me to do this video and talk about Sam. When Spider-Man Homecoming came out and everyone said, best Spider-Man movie ever, I scoffed. Spider-Man, Spider-Man 2, and even Spider-Man 3 are better than Homecoming and Far From Home. What Sam Raimi and Bryan Singer did with the X-Men, both of them, they started the superhero movie craze. Everyone puts the cap on Feig's head and says it's because of him. No. I think that Feig may have even been a producer on those Spider-Man films and those X-Men films. I'm not sure. Google it and let me know. But anyway, the pioneers, the filmmakers like Bryan Singer and Sam Raimi, who did the Spider-Man trilogy, are the reason we have this superhero trilogy, this superhero craze today. Yeah, it's their fault. But what Sam Raimi achieved with Spider-Man was something incredibly special. It was strange to me that we didn't have Spider-Man movies already. I grew up as a kid, and I was a big Spider-Man fan. I'm not as big a Spider-Man fan as Superman fan, of course, but I was a big Spider-Man fan, mainly for Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends, the animated series, which I love. I've got all the DVDs of that. And then there was a little series, not a very successful one, called The Amazing Spider-Man, a live-action TV series where they used to tell us, don't do this at home, kids. But it was okay. So those two things are the reason that I fell in love with Spider-Man. I don't know Sam's horror flicks that well, but I do know his Spider-Man movies. What he did was very, very clever. He gave us Peter Parker. He gave us MJ. And part of the element of that story was the love story. So that element he took from Donner's and Tom Mankiewicz's Superman the movie. Because the idea that Tom and Dick had was, if we make the love story work, the rest of the movie will work. And it's the same. It was really kind of very similar to what they were doing on Smallville at the time, because Smallville and the first Spider-Man film pretty much hit at the same time. So you have this love story. You see the origin story of Spider-Man, and it works. And even though Tobey Maguire, who is the greatest Spider-Man, by the way, he is the Christopher Reeve of Spider-Man. There's no question about it. And the way it was written by Sam and directed by Sam was very, very clever. First of all, you liked Tobey as Peter Parker and Spider-Man. It worked. And even though he had web blasters, I didn't care personally. A lot of people cared. So when they did the Amazing Spider-Man movie, it was like, ooh, oh, sorry, let me start again. I got that wrong, didn't I? He didn't have web blasters. That was the problem, wasn't it? Yes. And then in The Amazing Spider-Man, they did have web blasters. And everyone kind of fell in love with The Amazing Spider-Man because, ooh, he's got web blasters. And Tobey Maguire didn't. It was natural. For me, I didn't mind. That was something that didn't bother me. I kind of liked it, that it was naturally a part of him. But, of course, in the comics, he creates his own web blasters. And that's pretty cool too. But look, apart from that controversial situation, Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man is better than any other version we've ever seen. Tobey Maguire does a fabulous job of humanising the character, making him relatable. And it's all because of Sam Raimi's genius directing. He is a big Spider-Man fan. And one of the biggest regrets from all of us who are Sam Raimi Spider-Man fans is we never got Spider-Man 4. And that's because a lot of people hated on Spider-Man 3. I'll never understand the hate for Spider-Man 3. It's a movie I enjoyed. Look, it had problems, okay. But I don't think it had enough problems to hate on it. It was a very enjoyable movie. He fights Sandman, for Christ's sake. there's this thing where he joined forces with Harry Osborn. And the whole arc between Harry and Norman continuing as well. Norman may be dead, but Harry really, really... you get that great fight, don't you, with Harry's Green Goblin and Peter, of course. But I think what Sam Raimi achieved with those 3 Spider-Man films was something extremely special. The arc of the relationship between him and MJ. And what about Kirsten Dunst? She was a dream, wasn't she? She really was an amazing actor, did a great job. And she wasn't just a love interest. She was so much more than that. The soul that Kirsten gave with that performance. And again, partly due to Sam Raimi's great filmmaking. And there was a great relationship between Sam, Kirsten, and Toby. And on his birthday today, I just want to thank him. He gave us something as special as Superman the movie and the Superman 2. What he did was he looked at what Dick Donner did and he did his own thing. And I mean, it is amazing how many horror directors do translate to superhero directors. And you know what? I just wish we could have a Spider-Man 4. Obviously, with what's going on with the MCU right now, that's never going to happen. But maybe one day we could get Tobey Maguire back as an older Spider-Man. That would be pretty cool, wouldn't it? Because that Spider-Man 4 is a film gagging to happen. So happy birthday, Sam Raimi. Thank you for making some of the best superhero movies I've ever seen.